Let me adjust this.
What's an old driver?
The 12 like that, ain't it?
No.
When it has.
Yeah, the right frame. Yeah, that can work.
Alright, Shalom Israel. This is the Sabbath service. So we're going to blow the horn. Alright, men of Israel, we're going to rise and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew and in the English. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Badash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakavka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazak, Kawah, Hayah, Bashemayim, the Fanlanawa, the Kam, Cow, Yawam, Wasalaki Nawa, Kabawafi Nawa, Kasalaki Nawa, Kabawafi Nawa, Wala'ah, Fabiya Ainawa, Wanasaya Abal, Awashainawa, Mayan, Right, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahapara, the Iwalumyum. Oh man, in English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day, our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. This is the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Why Yahweh Wama Yaka Allah. Wa Alahayim. Mataz Allah Wapihana. Ha Alawapyam. Ha Saranyam. Ha Kutazayanyam. Ha Kilayanyam. Wa Akwapyam. Yahweh. Hashem. Yahushai. The water. Aman. And in the English. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahushai. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yohanan. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. This is Hakar, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. Baba Kushah. The Fanlanawa. Hakak. La'pa'ah. Kal Madawa. Hakak. Lataham. Hamatazarayim. Hakak. Lahakwiyam. Hamafiam. Hakak. Arakawah. Hatama Allah. The Barashan. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. The water. Aman. And in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power, the power to heal, all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. This is the Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al-Hahayim, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratazah, Alithan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al-Yanawam, Shemaka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yashan, Shawamah, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemaka, Yahweh, Zalka, Al-Yad, Yam-Yankar, Yawamah, Shemash, La'ah, Yakakar, Wayarak, Walayalam, Yahweh, Yashamaka, Makal Rai, Yashama, Afna Pashka, Yahweh, Yashama, Taza Wabawa Ayaka, Ma'aika, I will love. So be it. Amen. And in the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the
I will
hills.
lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my
From
help?
whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from
My
Yahweh,
help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth
he
Israel
that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by
The
day,
sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time
from
forth
this time forth,
and even forevermore.
even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. This is Psalms. All right, so this is Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Al-Damayah,
Al-Damayah,
Lakar,
Lakar,
Al-Fakarash,
Al-Takarash,
Wa'al,
Wa'al,
Tashakwat,
Tashakwat,
Al,
Al,
Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awayabika,
Awab Yakar,
Yahaman,
Yahama,
Yawan,
Yawan,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Alay-Makar,
Al-Imakar,
Ira Yamwa,
Ba'ai Yamwa,
Sawadan,
Sawadah,
Wayafar,
Wayadah,
Aitazawo,
Wayaitzawar,
Aitaza Puwanyika,
Altazar Pawanyaka,
Amawa,
Amawa,
Nakawa,
Nakawa,
Anakakidam,
Wanakakidam,
Gaya,
Bugaya,
Alaa,
Balaa,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Iwada,
Iwadah,
Kaya,
Kayah,
Aitazawo,
Nawa Aitazawar,
Ba,
Laba,
Yaka Adwa,
Yaka Adwa,
Al-Yakar,
Al-Yakar,
Ba Yaf,
Bayah,
Yaka Rafwa,
Yakawafwa,
Ahalya,
Ahalya,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wa,
Wa,
Yashamai,
Yashamai,
Alayam,
Alayam,
Mawa Abba,
Mawa Abba,
Wahagaya,
Wahagayam,
Wow,
Gabal,
Aimawan,
I'm a one,
Aimalak,
I'm a lot,
Palashaf,
Palishah,
Aimi Shabya,
I'm a Shabya,
Tazawo,
Tazawar,
Gam Ashawal,
Gum Ashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Imam,
Aywa,
Hayawa,
Zarawai,
Zawawai,
Labanya Lawa,
Labanyala Wat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishalam,
Aishalam,
Kamadyan,
Kamadyan,
Kasaya,
Kasaya,
Sarah,
Sara'ah,
Kayabim,
Kayabyan,
Wanakaal,
Wanakal,
Kayashwan,
Koyashwa,
Nashamadwa,
Nashamadwa,
Ba'ayan,
Ba'ayan,
Dara,
Dara,
Aywa,
Hayawa,
Aman,
Daman,
Ladamam,
La'adama,
Shayfamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Nada,
Nada,
Yab,
Yab,
Mawab,
Mawab,
Ka'ira,
Ka'ira,
Kaza'aba,
because of Abba,
Kazaba,
because of Bak,
Wakatazal,
Wakatazal,
Manai,
Manai,
Kal,
Kal,
Nasayikamwa,
Nasaya Kamwa,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Mawa,
Amawa,
Narashah,
Naira Shah,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Af,
Ah,
Na'awaf,
Na'awa,
Alahayab,
Alahaya,
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 Shayfamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Agal Gala,
Galgala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya Rakal,
Lapanya Rakal,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Kaba'ira,
Naba'aya,
Ira,
Ya'ira,
Wa,
Wa,
Kalahaba,
Kalahaba,
Kalahat,
Kalahat,
Hariyam,
Hayam,
Khan,
Khan,
for a Dutma,
Baba Dakma,
Masa Iraka,
Basa Iraka,
Wabasa,
Babasa,
Wapafka,
Wapafka,
for Bahalam,
Sabahalam,
Alaa,
Mala'ah,
Panyahum,
Panyahum,
Kalawan,
Kalawan,
Waya,
Waya,
Wakwashwa,
Bakwashwa,
Shankar,
Shankar,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Bahalwa,
Bahawa,
Ayai,
Ayai,
Waya,
Waya,
Kapawa,
Kapawa,
Waya,
Waya,
Abadwa,
Abadwa,
Waya,
Waya,
Aiwa,
Aiwa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Afa,
Ata,
Shankar,
Shamkar,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Badka,
Abadka,
Al-Yawan,
Al-Yuwan,
Al-Kahar,
Al-Kahar,
Aratazar,
Aratazar,
so be it.
so be it. In the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O
Be
Yahweh.
not still, O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thine enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up their
have
head.
lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted against
and have consulted against
thy hidden
thy
ones.
hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a
from
nation,
being the nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more in
may
remembrance.
be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against
They
thee.
are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of
The
Edom,
tabernacles of Edom,
and the
and
Ishmaelites,
the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the
and
Hagarenes,
the Hagarenes,
Gobal and Ammon,
Baal and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the
the
Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of
the
Tyre.
inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with them.
They are hoping the children of
They
Lot.
are hoping the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah,
do unto them
do unto them,
as unto the
and
Midianites,
unto the Midianites,
and to Sisera,
to Sarah,
and to Jabin,
to Jabin,
at the brook of
and the
Kison,
book of Kison,
which perished at
which
Endor.
perished at Endo.
They became as dung for the
They
earth.
became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like Oreb,
and like Zayeb.
and like Zayeb.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as the bar,
all their princes as the bar,
and as Zalmunah,
and Zalmunah,
who said,
who said,
let us take to ourselves
let us take to ourselves
the houses of God in possession.
the houses of God in possession.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as a stubble before the wind,
as a stubble before the wind,
as a fire burning for wood,
as a fire burner for wood,
and as a flame
as a flame.
set the mountains on
Set the
fire.
mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy
with
tempest,
thy tempest,
and make them afraid with thy
and
storm.
make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name, Yahweh.
that they may seek thy name, Yahweh.
Let them be
Let
confounded
them be confounded
and troubled
and troubled
forever.
forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name
whose
alone
name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the Most High
art the Most High
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
So be it.
So be it.
And the curses, blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things
and
living.
all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of
in
Yahweh
the
Shai,
name of Yahweh,
listen to us now,
listen to us now,
right now,
right now.
to evils and
The
curses,
evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
punishment and destruction
to the heathen
to the heathen
that speak against
that
us,
speak against us,
thy
the
prophets,
prophets,
the teachers,
the teachers,
the
the
princes,
princes,
the
the
priests,
priests,
the Israelite
the
brothers,
Israelite brothers,
and the school.
and the school.
Send evils and
The
curses,
evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
punishment and destruction
to the heathen,
to the heathen,
and shake loose the treasure
that shake loose the treasure
of the rich of
of the
Israel,
rich of Israel,
that refuse to give to the
that
school.
refuse to give to the school,
Force their riches
force their riches
to enter into thy
to
sanctuary.
enter into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses,
The evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
punishment and destruction
to the Edomites,
to the Edomites
and the nations,
and the nations,
and their drug
and the
dealers,
drug dealers,
the court system,
court system,
the prison
prison
system,
system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our
all the
enemies,
governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic
Roman
Church,
Catholic Church,
the Pope,
Pope,
Islam, Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia,
militia,
Ku Klux Klan,
Klan,
Aryan
Aryan
Nation,
nations,
skinheads,
skinheads,
Posse Comitazi,
Komitazi,
the gay
gay
movement,
movement,
the lesbian
lesbian
movement,
movement,
spies,
spies,
workers of
workers
witchcraft,
of witchcraft,
NASA space
NASA
programs,
space programs,
Army,
Army,
Navy,
Navy,
Air
Air
Force,
Force,
Marines,
Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street,
open up the internet
open up the internet
and the airways,
and the airways,
the cable access channels,
cable access channels,
and the radio
and the
channels.
radio channels.
Convict the spirit
Convict the spirit
of any of thy
of
people
any of thy people
that seek to stop
that
us
seek to stop us
and bring swift
and
destruction
bring swift destruction
to all the
to
heathen
all the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way
or try to stop us
or try to stop us
from broadcasting your words
broadcasting your words
throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues,
Let loose all the plagues,
cause them to go to and fro
cause them to go to and fro
through the earth and consume
through the
them.
earth and consume them.
Let the plague shake
Let the plague shake
the house of the
the
thief
house of the thief
and the
and
murderer.
the murderer.
Let Yahweh shine,
Let Yahweh shine,
Michael and Gabriel
Michael and Gabriel,
come down with the flying
come down
saucers
with flying saucers
and punish all the
punish
heathen
all the heathen
that come up against
that
us
come against us
as we speak thy
as we
word.
speak thy words.
Cause it to be known by all
Cause it to be known by all.
that it is the angels that have done it.
There is angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread
Cause it to be spread
through the media
through the media
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
In the name of Yahweh
In
Shai,
the name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it. All right, with that, Yeshavyam, which means to be seated. All right, so we're gonna be in the book of Genesis, chapter 1. Also, any questions, just type them in. I'm gonna read 7 verses in the Hebrew, then I'm gonna read 7 verses in the English. So we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 1. Hold on, how do I put my table of content? All right, so we're in the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 1. Bear with me, it's been a while since I've done this. But Barashayaf, Bara'ah, Alahayam, Afar, Hashamayam, Wa'afar, Ha'aratazar, verse 2, Waharatazar, Hayafar, Fahawa, Wabakuwa, Wakashat, Ayla, Panya, Fahawam, Warawak, Alahayam, Marakapaf, Ayla, Panya, Hamayam, verse 3, Wayama, Alahayam, Yahaya, Awak, Wayahaya, Awaka, verse 4, Wayara'ah, Alahayam, Afar, Ha'awa, Kaya, Tawab, Tawab means good, which means this must be when the Lord seen what they created and said it's good. So when you see the word Tawab, that means good. Hold on, that's where it was. Yeah, Tawab. Why you badal alahayam bayan ha'awa wabayan hakashak wayakra alahayam la'awa yawam wala kashak kwara la yila waya haya Irab waya haya bakwa yawam akad. Verse 6. Waya amar alahayam yahya rakwataza ya'ai bafawak hamayam waya haya mabadayal bayan mayam lamayam. All right, verse 7. Waya Aisha alahayam afar harakwataza ya'ai wayab de la bayan hamayam ashar mafakafa larakwata ya'ai wabayan hamayam ashar ma'ayla larakwa ayya wayahaya kan. And that's 7 verses in the Hebrew.
Right. So Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
So in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Now, what does that mean? That don't mean what you think it means. People think God created the place where He dwells. It's not talking about that. God created the place where you dwell. When He created the heaven and the earth, means what we stand on today and the skies which is above us.
That's right.
So that's what was created.
And the earth was without form and void.
And the earth was without form and void, meaning what? There's tons of elements here, but nothing was put together. So you have to put elements together to get creation. So the earth was form and without shape and void. So what did the angels have to do? They had to take elements together, which creates water, man. Once they took those elements together, which creates water, they then named it seas and all of those things. So they created all of these, put these elements together. And that's why when you read later on, it says that to separate the waters from the waters. So it lets you know they created everything in this raw form. Then the separation came afterwards. So
and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So now
it was without form, meaning the earth at this stage was just gases. It was just full of gases before it was all put together. It was gases and particles. That's what it means without form. So now, obviously, you take a few elements, hydrogen and whatnot, you put that with something else, you get a certain creation.
I think it's 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, you get water in it, H2O.
Yeah. So say, for instance, they were there to put hydrogen and oxygen together to get water. So the earth was void and without form. So once they started to put these elements together, creation came about. And then this is where the oppressor gets the Big Bang Theory from, where when it says, let there be light and all of those things. He takes that as the Big Bang Theory. But once they did put these elements together, it creates a bang. And then they just go by the Big Bang Theory. But really, it was the angels putting the elements together. That's lucky.
Come. And darkness was upon the face of the deep.
And darkness was upon the face of the deep. Go ahead.
And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters.
And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, man. It moved upon this dark deep where nothing was. It moved upon the surface of where nothing was. Go ahead.
And God said, let there be light.
And God said what?
Let there be light.
And God said, let there be light. So they took elements and did what? Created this light. And that's what scientists call the Big Bang Theory.
That's right.
They call this light the Big Bang Theory. So now it was a deep darkness. And God said, let there be light. So then they created light. So they would take elements together, which creates light. It created a bang. That's what scientists call the Big Bang Theory. Go ahead.
If I may as well. When it says the face of the deep, you know what I mean? It refers to space as water. You know, that's what we're talking about. The deep, the darkness is space, man, out there in space.
Right.
And it's referred to the deep as the water. Why? Because you can't breathe in space. You can't breathe underwater, man. You float in space. You float in water. Scientists even call it a spaceship. A ship is something that moves on water, man. Right. It's talking about space. So and God said, let there be light. And there was light.
And God said, let there be light, and there was light. So don't think of a thing where God said, let there be light, and light just appeared out of nowhere like magic. These angels had to work to create that light. And how do you know they had to work to create that light? Because when God looked at the work, he said it was good, because he's seen their work. It's like when you report anything, it's like in here, when you report your work to the man over you, he will say, yo, good job. They reported their work back to the Lord said, good job. Go ahead.
God. And God saw the light, that the light was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day and called the darkness he called night.
And he called the light day and the darkness he called night. Now just understand, this is before the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon, there was lights created before the sun and the moon. So now the sun and the moon, when you read that part, that's talking about greater lights. So the sun was a greater light to rule the day. The moon was the greatest light to rule the night. There was other lights outside of the sun and the moon. The earth had its own illuminous glow which was created. So don't get caught up in these Muslims say. What do these Muslims say? Some nonsense.
You got day and night before the sun and the moon say.
Yeah, and listen, the sun is just the greatest light to rule the day. The moon is just the greatest light to rule the night. There was already lights before that, but the Lord gave the sun its job afterwards and the moon its job afterwards. But there would have been light regardless. How do you know? Because when you read the Bible, it tells you here he separated the light from the day. It's before the sun and the moon. So now, the Lord had to create all of these things beforehand. The Lord had to create all of these things before he created the grass, the animals. Why? Because the grass and the animals all need the sun and so forth. Now, when you read the creation, the Lord created the grass before he created the cattle. Why? Because the cattle needs to eat the grass, man. The Lord created the cattle before he created man. Why? Because man needs to eat the cows and the sheep, man. So that's why even when you look at the creation story, in order of how the creation story is, it matches every single day life. You do know that without grass, we wouldn't be able to survive, man. Because why? The animals that eat grass, what would happen to them? They would die, man. They would all die. And then what would we have to eat? Nothing. Life would literally stop, man. Little things like grass is important. And that's why when you're reading the creation, the Lord created all these things. The creation story in the Bible is the greatest creation story you'll ever read, man.
That's right.
Them Egyptian stories is gay about a man had sex with a man. That produces AIDS, man. That produces that creation story produces AIDS, man. Whereas this creation story right here is factual. Even an atheist understands what's in this creation story you need to live, man. Even an atheist understands this. So, okay, go ahead.
Khan. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
And the evening and the morning were the first day. So now this was the first day. Once they done all this work, that was day one. So, okay, go ahead.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
And that firmament is the ozone layer. That firmament is the ozone layer, and it said, let it divide the waters from the waters. Like Officer Crawford said earlier, there's waters in space and there's waters beneath. This firmament separated the two. So it said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the heaven. This separated the two. Go ahead.
So for me as well. So like basically, we have air, and the air we breathe is separate from what's out there in space. The air we breathe is water. In the air right now is oxygen. That's why if you have it by a freezer and you turn it on, you get frost around the edges, man, because the freezer's froze. It froze the water that's in the air. It froze it. So all around us is water. And you got water outside of heaven, water in heaven. So outside the firmament, in the firmament, the water in the firmament is the air we breathe, and the water outside the firmament is space, man. Which if you go out there, you can't breathe. And the ozone layer divides those two. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament.
And he divided the waters which was under the firmament, and then those waters which is above the firmament. So this is why when you're in water, what do? You float. And when you're in space, what do? You float, man. That's right. Because both are water. Now in space, what happens? The man floats in a spacesuit. He starts floating in the spacesuit and all of those kind of things. And then if you've ever jumped in a pool, you do the same thing, man. Go ahead.
And the suit that you're talking about, it's the exact same suit, man. When you see people that go under, what do they call it? That go underground.
Divers.
And they got a string attached to them. They have the same suit that astronauts have, man. With the minion looking like thing. They have the exact same thing, man. So look here. And God made a firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so.
And it was so. So they separated that firmament which is above the waters Now now they separated the two. Go ahead.
That was it. No, sorry. 7 to 14, yeah?
Yeah, go on. So now we're going to have 7 verses in the Hebrew again, and then 7 verses in the English.
So I keep reading it backwards.
So in Genesis, the first chapter, any questions, just type them in and we'll get to them.
So lucky baby, so lucky man. You know what I mean?
It's been a while.
Try with the book from right to left, it's not the same, man. Okay, 7 to 12, yeah, 14, sorry.
I think 8 to, is it 8 to 15? Yeah, I think it's 8 to 15.
Khan. Waya Kura Alahayim. Lara Kwa Ya I Shemayim. Wayahaya I Rabah. Wayahaya Bakwa Yawam Shanya. Waya Amar Alahayim. Waya Kwawawa Hamayam Makataf Ha Shemayim Al Makwawam Akkad Watha Ra'ah Haya Basha Waya Haya Khan Taikan Waya Kwara Alahayim Laya Basha Arataza Wala Ma Kwawa Hamayam Kwara'a Ma Ya Maya Ya Mayam Waya Ra'a Alahayim Kaya Tawab Waya Amar Alahayim Tha Dasha Ha Arataza Dasha Aishab Mazar Ra'ai Zarai Aitazar Paraya Aisha Paraya Lamaya Nawa Ashar Zara Aiwa Bawa Aila or Ayal Salakia Ha Arataza Wayahaya Khan Watha Wataza'a Ha Arataza Dasha Aishab Ma Za Ra'ai Wa Ra'ai Lama Nahawa Wa Aitazar Aisha Para Asha Wa Ra'aiwa Bawa Lama Nawa Waya Ra'a Alahayan Kaya Tawab Wayahaya Irab Waya Haya Bakwa Yawam Shalasha Waya Amar Alahayan Haya Ya Haya Ma'araf Barakwai 2 to 15, innit?
Yeah.
15. Hashemayim. So yeah, Hashemayim is heaven. Laha Badayal Bayan Hayawam Wabayan Hala Yala Waha Yawa La Athatha Wala Mawai Dayam Wala Yamayam Washanyam Waha Yawa Lama Waraf Bara Kwaya I Hashemayam Laha Aya Al Harataza Waya Haya Khan. That was it. Khan. So it's not verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven.
And God called the firmament heaven. So that's the sky. You see that pretty blue sky that you look at? God called that heaven, man. And how do you know? Because later on he said, create wingfowl to fly in the firmament of heaven, man. Which lets you know the firmament is talking about the skies, that thing that you see above your head, that ceiling you see above your head, which is a heaven, man. We're going to get to that later on. Go ahead.
God. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
So now that was created in the evening and the morning were the second day. So a new day starts in the evening A new day starts in the evening. So that's why all throughout the Bible you see sundown to sundown. So a new day starts once the sun goes down. Obviously, the oppressors switched it up. A new day starts when, according to them, midnight.
Yeah,
And in the morning,
12 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
there's a difference between 11:59 and 12:01. What they do is backwards. So really, when you get paid let's say you're meant to get paid at a new day, you're meant to get paid as soon as the sun goes down, man. As soon as that sun goes down, I'm meant to see my wages pop up in my bank account, man. Actually, those people that have to wait till midnight, 12:01. You shouldn't have to wait that long, man. It's a new day from the sun goes down.
You get your money by like 7, no, about 9 o'clock in the summer's day, innit?
You get it earlier in the winter. So okay. Payday comes quicker, and it's supposed to come quicker in the winter.
That's right.
Go ahead.
God. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place.
And he said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered onto one place. Why? Because under the heaven, what was around at this time? Everything was water, man. And he said, let the waters be gathered to one place. So they gathered the waters into seas. And even the oppressor knows that at one stage, the earth was 100% water. At this stage, the earth was 100% water. And the oppressor will tell you in his science, at one stage, the earth was 100% water. And it was gathered into seas. The oppressor will tell you this. This is a people that don't believe in the Bible, that just deal with science, will tell you the same thing. That one stage, the earth was 100% water. And the Lord's telling you this right here. That's what he's saying. Gather the waters into one place. Go ahead.
And let the dry land appear.
And let the what?
Dry land appear.
And there you go. One stage, the earth was 100% water until they gathered it into one place. And then the dry land appeared, man. Which lets you know what the Bible is science, man. It's letting you know. And when you look at how much water is on this earth is 71% water. And earth is only 29%. If you've ever been on a plane, what you'll see is when you fly, all you see is water, right?
You see the globe as well.
You're not flying over much land, you're flying over water and water and water. Between countries, what's in between all these countries? Water and water and water. Why? Because the earth is 71% water, man. And the earth is 29% land. And that's what the figures that science will give you. And that's why here when it says, gather the waters into one place and let the dry land appear. And the dry land appeared, and that's the statistics that these scientists will give you out of water compared to earth. So, like, you go ahead.
Okay. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth.
And God called the dry land earth. So that's when he named it, which is what aratas are.
Okay.
Yeah, so earth mean in the Hebrew is aratas are. You called the dry land earth. Go ahead.
And the gathering together of the waters called he seas.
And the gathering of the waters he called seas. What's that? Yam. Something like that. So the gathering of seas, that's what he called the seas. So all these seas you see today and so forth. Now, obviously, a lot of them wasn't initially there, but obviously after Noah and the flood, obviously land masses kind of changed a little bit. But Slacky, go ahead.
Okay. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass.
And God said that it was good and said, let the earth bring forth grass. Remember when we said earlier that the grass was created before the animals because they need to eat grass. So the chronological chronological order of creation in the Bible is accurate, man. Imagine this was written way before scientists ever had a telescope and all of them things, before they could ever dig in the earth and have these little charts that gives them certain things, before they ever had a computer. If you ever seen the first computer, it was ugly as could be, man. You remember the first computer with the big back screen?
Yeah. I saw it on Top Boy. Where do you get a TV from?
Damn.
You see Top Boy and they're right, and for the TV after the balcony.
Yeah.
I thought we have a big back telly, man. Sorry, carry on.
So now this was created. These angels creation is far and above the oppressor's creation, man. Far and above. So like you go ahead.
Come. And God saw it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass.
So when God saw it was good, it means this is just how the Lord wanted it, man. Meaning the Lord sinned, the earth and the seas said it was good. This means it's just how he wanted it. Since the skies and the heavens is created, said it's good, just how he wanted it. Saw the light just how he wanted it, man. Saw it was good. Now the oppressor tries to copy God's creations and theirs ain't good, man.
That's right.
Their creations ain't good. They try to create men that can fly. It don't work, man. Men put feathers and jump off buildings, man. It's not good, man. The Lord created the birds. Not one of them birds fell out of the sky, man. Because that creation was good. Them angels knew what they're doing. Their science 13,000 years ago is above what you see science is today. The oppressor is still trying to catch up to the Lord's angels today, man. What the angels created, he's still trying to catch up to that today. So, Lucky, go ahead.
God. And the fruit, and the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit.
And the herb yielding seed, and the herb tree yielding fruit. So now this is all the food and so forth that produces itself. The Lord's creation is so great that it made a fruit that, all right, once you finish that fruit, you just put the seed back in the ground and you'll get more. That's beautiful, man. The Lord created a man with seed. All right, then, usually ain't going to live forever. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to leave a multitude of children behind, man. And black men do that, man. they sure do that. So, Lucky, go ahead.
God. And kind of, stuck here. After his kind.
After his kind, and everything produces after its own kind. Like apples always produce apples. Oranges always produce oranges, man. Black men always, Israelites always produce Israelites, man. Because the seed is in the man. And you produce after your own likeness. So, Lucky, go ahead.
Upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass.
And the earth brought forth grass. And grass is food for all the cattle and all these animals that eat grass. It's crazy that, so now the Lord's creation is so great that what? He created cows and stuff that eats grass. And then he created lions and stuff that eat the sheep and so forth. And this is why what you'll find is, even in, according to their science, there's more cattle than lions and stuff. So it's the balance is perfect. Like the balance of everything is perfect. So how they live in the wild, this is why, if you notice, you would think lions would have killed all the sheep by now. Exactly.
There's more. Remember in school with science, there's more sheep than lions. There's more, but less predators. And apparently even the predators keep the numbers of the sheep down as well. So it's good so that they don't procreate too much as well.
That's it, and it all works out. Because if the lions weren't doing their part or whatever, and there was the sheep on top of sheep on top of sheep, guess what would happen? There'd be no grass left.
That's right.
There'd be no grass left, which kind of messes with the oxygen in the air. They would die of starvation. The lions would have nothing to eat. They would die of starvation. We wouldn't have no cows to eat. We would die of starvation. The earth would be done if that was the case. And that's how you know. Even when you look at just everything that you see, the Lord's created everything, man. That's the only way life could be so perfect as we know it. Now, we don't see the ins and outs of what's going on behind the scene, but if you could see what's going on behind the scene, you would see the Lord is in everything that you see, man.
That's right.
The Lord is pulling the strings to everything that you see. The Lord tells the waters where to stop, man. The Lord tells the water, all right, don't go past this mark. And then when we disobey God, he gives the water the orders, man. Gives the water to orders, all right, go past there. And then what do you have? Tsunamis. You have floods, you have storms, you have hurricanes, you have all of these things, man. It's Lucky, go ahead. They would tell you it's Mother Nature when these things just come. We know it comes from the Lord. It's Lucky, go ahead.
Come. And herb yielding seed after his kind.
And herb yielding seed after his kind also. So these things reproduce themselves. You just put the seed back in the ground. And this is why the oppressor is so smart. He doesn't he don't plant female trees. Like what he does is he don't plant female trees. Why? Because female trees, the fruit comes from female trees, man. The orange tree that you see is a female tree. The apple tree that you see is a female tree. And then what do the male trees produce? Pollen, man. And why do you think everybody has hay fever? Because there's all these male trees planted and no female trees, man. Because he knows you can't make money off pollen. Let me see if I'm let me see if what I'm saying is correct.
I've heard it though, those female trees.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me type in male trees produce pollen, and then female tree, and then see. Let me screen share it. Listen, I know a thing or two, man. And then female trees, what? That's why. Have you noticed? Like outside here, you won't see orange tree. When's the last time you just walked into an orange tree and you can pick an orange off it?
But you will get pollen. You get hay fever though.
Exactly. See, you will get hay fever because he knows you can't make money off pollen. Okay. Whereas if they plant the female trees, me and you would no longer buy oranges from Asda. Okay. So they try and do all these things. You can't have this tree in your garden if you get it.
That makes sense. So pollen's everywhere, but oranges ain't. Yeah.
So the pollen is somehow the pollen fertilizes the other tree, which makes it produce fruit. So the pollen somehow. Hold on. So here it says yes, male trees produce pollen. The male part of the flower, the male flower or the male tree produces the pollen. A large number of tree species produce extremely small pollen particles from their male sexual parts. And these trees use the wind as their favorite means of pollen transport to others of their own species for pollination. Some trees, such as hazelnut and apple trees, produce perfect flowers that contain male and female parts with a single blossom. So hold on, let me see what female. Let's see a fruit tree is female. That says fruit trees can be male or female. To tell whether fruit tree is male or female, check to see if it has fruit. If it does, it must be female. Yeah. So it says if it has fruit, a female tree. If it says if it has fruit, it must be a female.
That's right.
So there you go, man. So pollen. This is why there's so much pollen around, man, and this is why everybody's got hay fever, because the oppressor doesn't allow us to plant what God gives us freely. That's why I believe if you have like certain amount of trees in your garden which produce fruit, you have to let them know.
Yeah.
You have to let them know, because you can't be selling strawberries, man.
They don't get cut.
Yeah. So what we do, we end up with the hay fever and they end up with the fruit. So we get hay fever and they have all the fruit. So lucky.
No sweat. And the herb yielding seed after his kind.
And the herb yielding seed after his kind.
And the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself.
And the trees yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself. And the Lord created it so perfect, man, that the pollen kind of impregnates them trees. And the wind, imagine that even the wind plays a part. So the wind takes the pollen to that tree.
Sometimes
and you get fruits.
Sometimes even insects. Sometimes bees even transport the pollen. So like, yeah. If you know how it works, apparently the flower's beautiful on purpose to attract the bee, to get him in. Why? Because it wants his seeds to go elsewhere. So like,
right. And listen, creation's so great, man. Like imagine to just think of everything which is so beautiful. The Lord has to exist, man. You're not going to get all of this without the Lord. That even listen. So you mean to tell me a big bang came out of nowhere and there's male pollen that produces, it gets female trees pregnant and creates fruit. That's right. And then there's men that get women pregnant and create children, and all these great creations just come from exactly that. If you're an atheist, if you're still an atheist in 2023, you ain't done no research, man. While it is, if you're an atheist in 2023, it's because you want to live the life of a sinner. And you want your conscience to be free. So by you believing there's no God, you can get away with doing whatever you want. So okay, go ahead.
And after his kind, and God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day.
So the evening and the morning were the third day. So now this is creation. The evening and the morning were the third day. So okay, go ahead.
And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven, to divide the day from the night.
And he said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. So now these firmaments in the heaven is the sun and the moon. Now, like I said, there was lights prior to this, but now he's made a greater light to rule the day, a lesser light to rule the night. So that's what these ones are for. And these ones are for signs and so forth. Go ahead.
And let them be for signs and for seasons.
And these are for signs and for seasons. So now how do we know the seasons and the feast days? Why? Based off the moon, man.
That's right.
Based off the moon cycle and so forth. So we will know, all right then, end of the month and so forth. But we don't worship these things. These things are just for signs and seasons. We don't worship them. There's some people that worship them, like Muslims worship the moon because it was the only light that's in the night. So they worship it. Like this must be God. So they worship it, whereas we don't. We worship something greater than the moon and the sun. We worship the creator of the moon and the sun.
That's right.
Go ahead.
And for days and years.
And for days and years.
And let them be for lights in the firmament.
And let them be for lights in the firmament. So we said to you, the firmament is the skies, the heavens. So that's why when you look up in the nighttime, you see the sun. You look up, you see the moon. Go ahead.
Of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
And it gives light upon the earth. So these give light upon the earth. So now how it works is when the basically night and day is depending on where you are, it changes. Why? Because the earth is round and not flat, man. If the earth was flat, you'd see the sun and the moon at the same time, man. There's a reason you don't see it at the same time, because the earth is round. But that's a whole nother pointless argument that I'm starting to hate now. That's one argument I can't. It does my head in, man.
What happened to that as well, man? With the flat earth, this is a trend, man. It comes and goes like a trend. It's like
And the thing is, if we tell them, okay, the earth's flat, are you going to save the Lord now? Are you going to come save the Lord now? There's going to be another. There's going to be another. I said, all right, the earth's flat, are you going to come and save the Lord now? The answer's still going to be no.
That's right.
So with those kind of things, you waste your time. So okay.
That was it.
That's it. All right.
Well, I might do a job. Rise face to east.
So we're going to do the Lord's Prayer. We're going to do the prayers again. Abanawa.
Shabbat
Shemaiah.
Kodash.
Hayah. Shamkar.
Yahweh.
Malakufkar.
Malakufkar.
Baba'ah.
Ratazaka.
Hayah.
Aisha.
Ba'aratiza.
Kawa.
Hayah.
Shemaiah.
Falinawa.
Lakam.
Cow.
Yawam.
Masalakinawa.
Wasalakinawa.
Kabawafinawa.
Kabalakinawa.
Salakinawa.
Wasalakinawa.
Kabawafinawa.
Kabawafinawa.
Wala'ah. Fabi'ainawa.
Tabi'ainawa.
Wanasaya one.
Abor.
Washainawa.
Mayan.
Right.
Kaya.
Lakab.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ara.
Waha'ara.
I will love you.
Amen. And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. All right, this is the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Yahweh Shai. Wama Yaka'ara. Alahayam. Tazabi'am. Alawafi'anam. Alawafiyam. Hasaranyam. Hakatazayanyam. Hakatazayanyam. Wa'akwafiyam. Yahweh. Hashem. Yahushai. The water. Amen. And in the English. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahushai. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yohanan. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. All right, the Hakad part in the English, in the Hebrew, Yahweh. Hashem. Yahushai. Shah. Falinawa. Hakah. Kalmakalah. Latahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakwiyam, Alakawaf, Hatama'ala, Bashem, Yahushai, the water, Amen. And in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushai, thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahahaya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayan, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemaiah, Ratiza, Ayatan, Lamawat, Galka, Agilwam, Shemaka, La'ah, Wala'ah, Yashan, Shawamah, Yasha'ai, Yahweh, Shemaka, Yahweh, Tazaka, Yam Yamka, Yawamam, Hashemash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayara, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamaka, Makarai, Yashama, Afna Pashka, Yahweh, Yashama, Afka, Ma'aifa, I will learn. This is it, Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot. To be moved. He that keepeth Israel. Will not slumber. Behold. He that keepeth Israel. Shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore. So be it.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayam.
Adamayam.
Aldamayam.
Laka.
Alpha Karash.
Al.
Ashakwat.
Al.
Kayam.
Hana.
Awayabika.
Awabiyaka.
Yahamam.
Yahamayawan.
Yuwan.
Ra'ash.
Alaimaka.
Al-Imaka.
Yarayamwa.
Yamwa.
Sawada.
Wayafam.
Wayata. Ya Aitazawo.
Yawa Aitazawa.
Al-Tazapawandika.
Al-Tazapawandika. Amawa.
Yakawa.
Yakawa.
Wakakadam.
Wanakakidam.
Magaya.
Wala Yazaka.
Shamya Sha'ala.
Hada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Aitazawo.
Yawa Aitazawa.
Ba.
Ba.
Yaka
Yaka
Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Bayaf.
Yaka.
Yakarafa.
Yakawafa.
Ahalia.
Say
Ahalia.
Ahaya.
Alawam.
Adawam.
Wa. Yashamai.
Yashamai.
Alayam.
Alayam.
Ma'aba.
Mawa'aba.
Wagayam.
Wagayam.
Ball.
The ball.
Aimawan.
Wa'aimawan.
Aimalak.
Wa'aimalak.
Alashaf.
Palashaf.
Anishabya.
Aimishabya.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gam Ashawar.
Gum Ashawar.
Nalawa.
Nalawa.
Aimam.
Aimam.
Aywa.
Hayawa.
Zarawai.
Zarawai.
Banyalawat.
Labayalawat.
Salam.
Salah.
Aishalam.
Aishada.
Hadyan.
Kabyan.
Kasiyam.
Kasaya.
Sar'a.
Sarah.
Kayabyan.
Kayabyan.
Banakal.
Banakal.
Kayashwan.
Kayashwa.
Nashamadwa.
Nashamadwa.
Ba'ayan the Ara.
Bayandara.
Aywa.
Hayawa.
Aman.
Laman.
Adama.
The Adama.
Sayfamwa.
Shayatamwa.
Da.
Lada.
Yabmawa.
Yabmawa.
Kaira.
Ka'ira.
Abba.
Because of Abba.
Wakazubat.
Because of Bak.
Wakatizal.
Wakatizal.
Manai.
Manai.
Kal.
Kal.
Nasi Kamwa.
Nasayakamwa.
Shah.
Ashar.
Amawa.
Amawa.
Naira Shah.
Naira Shah.
Alawa.
Nalawa.
Af. Na'awaf.
Na'awaf.
Alahayam.
Alahaya.
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 Sayfamwa.
Shayatamwa.
Galgala.
Kagalgala.
Kash.
Kakwash.
Kapanya Rakah.
Kapayaraka.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Kabaira.
Kaba'aya.
Ira.
Ya'ira.
Wa.
Kabah.
Kalaba.
Kalabah.
Falahat.
Kalahat.
Harayam.
Hayam.
Khan.
Khan.
For a Dakma.
Paradakma.
Iraka.
Basa Iraka.
Babasa.
Babasa.
Wapafka.
Wapafka.
Wabahalam.
Balaham.
Mal'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Falawan.
Kwalawan.
Waya.
Waya.
Kwashwa.
Kwashwa.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Washwa.
The Bashwa.
Waya.
Waya.
Hawa.
Wahawa.
Ajai.
Ide.
Waya.
Waya.
Pawa.
Power.
Waya.
Waya.
Abadwa.
Badwa.
Waya.
Waya.
Iwa.
The Iwa.
Waya.
Kaya.
Fa.
Ata.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Wadka.
The Badwa.
Aliwan.
Al-Yawan.
Alkaha.
Alcohol.
Aratiza.
Aratiza.
Amen.
Oh man. And in the English, I'm not sure. Sorry. So lucky. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh,
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
and hold not thy peace,
Hold not thy peace.
and be not still, O Yahweh.
Be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thy enemies make a
thy
tumult,
enemies make a tumult.
and they that hate thee
They that hate thee
have lifted up their head.
have lifted up their head.
They are taking crafty
They
counsel
have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people
and consulted against
and consulted against
thy hidden
thy
ones.
hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
come
and let us cut them
and
off
let's cut them off
from being a
from
nation,
being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more in
may be
remembrance.
no more remembered.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against
They are confederate against thee,
the tabernacles of
the
Edom
tabernacles of Edom
and the Ishmaelites
and the Ishmaelites
of Moab
of Moab
and the
and the
Hagarenes,
Hagarenes,
Gabor and Ammon
Gabal and Ammon
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the
the
Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of
the
Tyre.
inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with
They
them.
shall also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of
They
Lot.
have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah.
do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
to the Midianites,
and to Sisera,
to Sisera,
and to Jabin,
to Jabin,
at the brook of Kison,
Kison,
which perished at Endor.
perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the
They
earth.
became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like
They
Oreb,
make their nobles like Arab,
and like Zayem.
like Zayab.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes as
all
Zabar,
their princes of Bar,
and as Zalmunah,
Zalmunah,
who said,
who said,
let us take to
"Let us
ourselves
take to ourselves
the houses of the Most High in
the
possession.
house of the Most High possession.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as a stubble before the
as a
wind,
stubble before the wind,
as a fire burner for wood,
as a fire burner for wood,
and as a flame
as a flame,
set up the mountains on fire.
set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy
So
tempest,
persecute them with thy tempest,
and make them afraid with thy storm.
make them afraid with thy storm,
Fill their faces with
fill
shame,
their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
they may seek thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded,
and troubled forever.
troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame and perish,
let them be put to shame and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name
his
alone
name alone,
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the Most High
the Most High
over all the earth.
over the earth.
So be it.
So be it.
And the curse is, blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed be Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh
in the
Shai,
name of Yahweh Shai,
listen to us now,
listen to us now,
right now.
right now.
Send evils and curses,
Evils and curses,
and punishment and destruction
punishment and destruction
to the heathen
to the heathen
that speak against
that
us,
speak against us,
thy
thy
prophets,
prophets,
the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school, sent evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure, of the rich of Israel, that refuse to give to the school, force their riches, to enter into thy sanctuary, the evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, national space programs, army, navy, air force, marines, Wall Street, open up the internet and the airways, the cable access channels, and the radio channels, convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your word throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael and Gabriel, come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us as we speak thy word. Call it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. Call it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Call them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you always. So be it. This is your okay.
All right, then, Israel, we'll see you here tomorrow, 7 p.m. for the Day of Atonement. All right, Shalom, Israel.